If you are working within the religious community, then the traditional route that you would take is to work with counsel and retain a towen who will facilitate the mediation, which typically will occur with a rabbi, and or help you to facilitate your contract with the Beit Din. This process is very different than when you will work with a secular process. In the secular process, there's no real consideration for the religious mandates or the traditional requirements. In the secular process, you're going to be viewed through the prism of the New Jersey statutory law. So if you know that you do not have rabbinical approval to participate in a secular process, then for right now at least, what makes the most sense is to retain counsel who's going to work in conjunction with your towen to figure out your next layered step. In the community, there's going to be layers for the process. So you're going to start by working with a rabbinical mediator who is traditionally not your rabbi, but is instead a rabbi of your joint choosing. Oftentimes, the rabbi is going to be suggested through your child's learning institution. They may give you some recommendations, especially if there's some child-related issues. When you work with that rabbi, they will help you with the assistance of counsel and your towen to figure out the right next steps, what can be agreed upon, and ultimately if a formal Beit Din is going to be required for the issues of the divorce. Obviously, the Beit Din will ultimately have to be required to facilitate the finalization of the get, but in this beginning phase, you're going to want to get into place the people who you are going to trust and rely upon to help you move through this process. Once you have your key advisors in place, those advisors are going to work hand in hand to facilitate a resolution that takes into account the religious mandates and the secular mandates. So, by way of example, if you follow just a traditional religious resolution, there may not be a child support award. Instead, there might just be payment towards expenses. Whereas in secular court, the child support is the right of the child. So there would have to be a child support award. By having your rabbinical advisor work with your secular attorney, you can ensure that the writing is a written document that will satisfy both counsels who may be reviewing it in the future. So for instance, if you have to go back later and you do choose to go back to the Beit Din, you would want them to know how to read this document, make sure it meets the religious requirements. But if you do end up before a secular court, the document needs to match some of the secular mandates to pass muster. So it's important to work hand in hand in these two different arenas to make sure that the document marries the two concepts so that it is enforceable going forward. Working within the community, as you know, does require certain understanding, expertise, and acceptance. When you're choosing who you're going to work with on the secular component, whether that's through the Beit Din or whether that's strictly through the secular court, you should absolutely confirm with your rabbi and your towen that the person with whom you are working is respected by and approved by the community at large. Religious divorce must work hand in hand with secular requirements to ensure the viability of the agreement or the pasuk which is ultimately awarded. In order to ensure this, please give us a call at Jersey Coast Family Law. We can help you through this process.